It's Lily's birthday, and Leah offered to treat her to a spa day. They arrived at the marvelous Pink Lotus Boutique Spa for their day of treatment and were sent to different rooms. One of the women received a text on their phone saying, "Be careful. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which friend is in danger?" It's Lily. The drink on that waiter's tray is definitely poisoned. She should get out of that place as fast as she can. Hello. Jonah woke up in a different timeline. Normally, he was a straight A student, but in this reality, he was a pretty bad student. His teacher put him in detention to see if his grades would get any better. During detention time, he had to solve some puzzles. For each puzzle he solved, he got points that would help him raise his grade. His first task was to find the difference between both images. He only had a few seconds, though. Can you help? Yep, that one on the right didn't have the scribble on the paper. For his next detention challenge, Jonah had to spot the difference between these two rabbits riding a motorcycle. Don't ask too many questions, just help him out. Yep, it was the helmet all along. Dana is a swimming champion preparing for her competition on Monday. 24 hours before the big day, she disappears. Nobody can find her. Her mother calls the police and asks them to investigate the crime, and they come up with 3 suspects. All of them are swimmers. Hannah says she hasn't spoken to Dana since their last practice. Ashley explains that she invited Dana for lunch on Saturday, but Dana refused because she was getting her hair done for the competition. And Melanie says that she spoke to Dana the night before. Dana told her that she was feeling anxious before the race. One of the swimmers is lying. Who is it? I mean, it's definitely Ashley. It doesn't make sense for a swimmer to get her hair done before a swimming match. It will get wet anyways. Daniel is a sailor on a large cruise ship. One day the captain asked him to go to the ship's lowest deck and get some supplies. But as the man was walking down the ladder, it broke and he fell down. Try as he might, he couldn't get out. And oh no! The situation was worse than he thought. There was a hole on the ship's hulk, and water was starting to fill the lower decks. Take a look around. Is there anything Daniel can do to save himself? Yep, he could put on a life jacket and wait for the water to fill the lower deck. He will simply float upwards, and then he can climb up those stairs again. I mean, if that ship doesn't go all Titanic, right?
Yeah!
Amelie was exploring her grandmother's closet when she came across something spectacular. A time machine. She set the date back to the 16th century and pressed go. She spent the day exploring a local market, but people kept looking at her differently. One man came up to her and said he knew she was a time traveler. He locked her in his basement and said he was going to look for where she hid the time machine. Amelie was so frustrated she got caught and was afraid she might never go back to her real life. That's when she saw that the basement had an old piano. Do you have any clue how Amelie can use that piano to escape? That's a tricky one, but she should play it until she finds the right key. You decided you needed to go on an adventure, so you packed your backpack and went hiking the Appalachian Trail. The thing is, since this was your first hike ever, you planned poorly. Your water only lasted for a day, and you needed a refill. There are 4 sources of water before you: a pond, a lake, a juicy cactus, and a stream. Which one should you drink water from? Most cacti are toxic, so you should keep away from them. The waters from the pond and the lake are stagnant water, so this means they could be filled with stuff that isn't good for you. So that leaves the stream water. Way to go, you. Oh, yeah. It's getting rather late, and you realize you're lost in the middle of the forest. Your phone's GPS is not working, and you're standing at a fork in the road. You can choose between 4 roads leading north, south, west, or east. The path that heads north will lead you to a black hole. The road that leads south goes through a lake full of huge whale sharks. The one that leads east passes through a crater-sized hole. And the one that leads west will take you to a sky-high mountain that is impossible to climb over. Which way will you choose? You should head south. Whale sharks pose no threat to people, and it's probably not true that they exist inside that lake. I mean, they are sea creatures. Harry has spent the last 2 weeks in Egypt exploring ancient pyramids. He's an archaeologist, and he was looking for some groundbreaking discoveries on the history of the mummies. Inside one of the pyramids, he found a secret chamber. Written on this chamber's walls was this: if one can answer correctly, an ancient secret will be revealed. And right below this, Harry found a riddle. The next answer that should escape your lips should be the creature wrapped up in cloth strips. Can you guess what Harry should answer? Mummy! He should simply say the word mummy. Tom escaped from prison by digging a long tunnel in the floor of his cell. He had been crawling through the underground tunnel for 3 hours when he saw that the main tunnel was divided into 3 smaller ones. The first tunnel was on fire. The second tunnel was home to a nest of venomous snakes, and the third tunnel was filled with explosives. Which tunnel should Tom take to continue his prison break? He should choose the tunnel with fire. He can put the fire out with the dust from the ground and make his way to freedom.
Yeah!
Sierra wanted to go to her favorite band's concert, but she didn't have enough money to buy the tickets. Her local radio station was putting on a contest, and the winner would get tickets to the show. All she had to do was answer their riddle correctly. She called the radio station, and they asked her, "Every night I'm told what to do, and each morning I do what I'm told. But I still can't escape your scold. What am I?" Sierra won the tickets. Can you guess what she answered? The correct answer is an alarm clock. Sounds just about right, doesn't it? Amy woke up on an estranged island. She looked everywhere for something that could help her escape and found nothing. In the following days, she continued to look for something that could give her some direction, and came across 3 torn pieces of paper that could be joined to make one. She put everything together and managed to escape the island by water, using no other resources than the things she found. Can you figure out how she managed to do that? This one is tricky. Nothing was the name of the boat she found abandoned on the island.
Ooh.
Then she found torn pieces of paper that together made up a map. The map helped to guide her to the nearest inhabited island, and the boat helped her get out by water.
Yes!
Mirabelle walked into her father's deli and asked for a sandwich to go. When she looked to her right, she noticed something extremely out of the ordinary. Take a look at this image. Can you tell what it was? A turtle is hiding under the counter. This sure isn't normal.
2 detectives, Jake and Olivia, have recently been promoted and transferred to the capital, and now they need to prove to their new, not-so-friendly colleagues that their skills are more than enough to work there. How about we help them? While investigating their new case connected to the activity of an infamous gang, Jake and Olivia uncover a series of terrible traps set up in one of the gang's warehouses. The criminals apparently store dangerous chemical and biological agents there. The detectives come across 3 glass containers. To their horror, people are trapped inside, each facing a different threat. Unfortunately, the detectives can only save one person because they don't have enough time. Jake and Olivia must analyze who is in the greatest danger and act accordingly. Can you help them? The green gas is, in fact, non-toxic. It's just colored smoke meant to create the illusion of danger. The woman inside this chamber seems totally fine, just a bit scared. The guy in the chamber with a few bees is only at risk if he is allergic to their stings. This makes the man in the chamber with those creepy rats the priority. He is in the most immediate and genuine danger. After saving the trapped people, Jake and Olivia follow the gang's track, and it leads them to India. They find themselves in a busy marketplace in Mumbai. Suddenly, the detectives notice someone who seems suspicious to them. Can you figure out which person they have paid attention to? See that man wearing a warm jacket? The day is scorching, and Jake and Olivia are covered with sweat. So, such a large jacket likely means that the man is hiding something inside. Our detectives manage to detain the man and find a bundle with diamonds in a secret pocket and a map with a marked location. The map takes Jake and Olivia to a seemingly abandoned warehouse, but soon our detectives find proof that this location is connected to an international criminal syndicate involved in artifact smuggling. They find a jumbled-up picture that seems important. The image is scrambled and hard to identify, but solving it could help them understand where the criminals are planning their next move. Can you figure out what this picture is and where it's from? Upon careful examination, Jake and Olivia realize that the picture shows the pyramids of Egypt. This makes them think that the criminals are planning to steal valuable ancient artifacts from an Egyptian tomb or museum. After informing Egyptian authorities, our detectives return to their home city. A new tricky case is already waiting for them. While they were away, their colleague Clark got into a car accident and lost his memory. When he came around, doctors told him he was supposed to recover his memories, but not all of them. The worst thing about this situation is that Clark knows, or should we say used to know, a very important code needed to open a safe with super-secret documents only a few detectives have access to. Jake and Olivia are among those who need the documents urgently. They decide to help Clark recollect the code. After searching the guy's home, they find a note with some hints about how to crack the code. The password consists of 5 numbers. The first number is 3 times bigger than the fifth. The third number is smaller than the second by 3. The fourth number is bigger than the second by 4. 3 pairs of numbers add up to 11. Can you help our detectives to understand what this crucial code is? The code is 65292. The only way to figure it out is to use the substitution method. This way, you can come to the conclusion that there are only 3 suitable pairs of numbers adding up to 11 and meeting all other requirements: 6 plus 5, 2 plus 9, and 9 plus 2. Matthew, the owner of a big company, comes to work one day and, as usual, switches on his computer. A few seconds later, he discovers that all the data connected with a super important deal has been erased from his computer. He calls the police, and Jake and Olivia come to investigate. It turns out that 3 people have come close to Matthew's computer, and our detectives question them all. Sydney, the accountant, tells them that the computer was frozen. She just pressed several keys on the keyboard and everything started to work normally again. William, the IT specialist, claims that he only updated the antivirus software. He did it remotely and didn't even touch the computer. Laura, the secretary, says she was with William. The only thing she did was restart the device. Jake and Olivia take fingerprints from the computer and around it, and that's what they discover. Can you figure out who deleted the files? Look, there aren't any fingerprints on the keyboard. It means Sydney lied. She is behind the disappearance of the files. It's Jake's birthday. Olivia decides to splurge and present him something he's been dreaming about for ages, a motorbike. Jake is on cloud 9. The next morning he rides his bike to work and leaves it at the parking lot. During a coffee break, the detective decides to check on his motorbike. Imagine his horror when he finds out that someone has broken the mirrors. The security guard tells Jake that only 3 other people left the building in the afternoon. They were John and Liam, 2 best friends, Jake's colleagues, and Nina, the secretary of their division. Jake suspects that the girl likes him. John tells our detective that he and Liam went to a nearby cafe to get sandwiches for lunch. Liam confirms this and adds that Nina might have damaged the bike out of jealousy. But Nina tells Jake that her mom visited her, and they spent an hour together. Help Jake understand who is lying. Have you noticed that John has a paper bag with food delivery written on it in his left hand? The guys must have ordered their lunch, not bought it in the cafe. Liam and John broke Jake's bike and tried to frame Nina. The next day, neither John nor Liam are police officers anymore. But Jake and Olivia still are. That's why they're sent to deal with a terrifying case. In the middle of a long flight, 2 criminals stood up and started to threaten the crew and passengers. They demanded $1 million and a helicopter. One of the criminals had a pilot's license and could fly a copter. So the plane lands at the nearest airport, where Jake and Olivia have already put their clever plan into action. The criminals get everything they requested, a case full of money and a helicopter. They get inside, but for some mysterious reason, the copter stays put. In no time, the police capture them. Have you understood what Jake and Olivia's plan was and why the criminals couldn't start the machine? Keep in mind that the helicopter didn't have any technical problems. The helicopter was okay, but there was no fuel in the tank. After this dangerous case, Jake and Olivia get an award, a cruise on a luxurious liner. But they wouldn't be the best detectives in the city if they didn't stumble upon a new tricky case. During their evening stroll, they find a very expensive watch on the deck and ask the cruise liner security to announce it on the radio. Soon, 4 people show up to pick up the watch. Each of them claims it's their watch. Jake and Olivia look at the people attentively and, without exchanging even a word, agree on who the watch belongs to. Can you figure it out too? The man does have a watch tan line, but it's much larger than the watch the detectives have found. This young girl already has a watch on her left hand. Why would she wear the second one? The elderly lady must be very absent-minded. Her tiny dog is wearing her watch as a collar. So, the watch must belong to the teenager.
Ava got into a serious accident during the weekend. She got a concussion and broke her leg. Still, the very next day, one of her friends saw her riding a bicycle in the park, and she looked fine. How is that possible? Look, the girl who got into the car accident has a tattoo on her ankle. The girl on the bike doesn't. The girl who was riding the bike was Ava's twin sister, Malva. A doctor rushed into the emergency room and saw there were 2 patients waiting for urgent treatment. The man on the left was a tech millionaire, and the lady on the right was a grandmother to 5 children. He needed to think fast who he would save. Who should he choose? He should choose the grandmother. The man on the left has a phone next to him. He could call someone else for help. 3 scientists went to research in the Amazon forest. Bianca had some trouble with the harsh weather, but felt it was worth it in the end. Pablo had a great time photographing the wildlife for his social media page, and Helena got to study a rare species of carnivorous plant. On the last day of their trip, passing through airport security, one of them got caught trying to take something in their backpack. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who it was? Well, it's illegal to take seeds and plants with you, and Helena had a carnivorous plant in her backpack. Yikes! Mia went to Rome for summer vacation. She was wandering through the streets when she saw an artist's easel was knocked over. He said he had stepped away for 1 second and the tragedy happened. Mia decided to help him solve the case and interviewed a few people. Marco said that he'd been taking photos nearby. Harry said he'd been juggling for a big crowd a few meters away. Josie said that she'd come by just to buy a painting from the artist. And Leo said he had been enjoying gelato at a cafe nearby. Can you help Mia figure this one out? Well, look at Harry's backpack. There are some art supplies sticking out of it. He must have created a distraction to steal it. Yikes! Barbara invited her colleague Sabrina for lunch at her place. Sabrina was surprised she thought Barbara didn't like her. But Barbara went all in for their lunch. She even cooked delicious tuna. She split the fish in half, and each of the ladies ate their portion. A few hours after lunch, Sabrina ended up in the hospital with severe food poisoning. After a thorough investigation, the police popped over at Barbara's house and arrested her. But how was this possible? Take a look at the knife Barbara used to prepare the meal. It had a bit of poison on one side. Certainly the side that she gave Barbara to eat. Oh my. You meet a friend for coffee, and she says she will only spill the tea on her latest secret if you can guess her riddle. She says, 5 costs $25, 25 costs $50. If you buy 255, you pay $75. What is it that you're buying, and how much does one item cost? You're buying door numbers, and each number costs $25. It took a decade for Professor Evans' archaeological mission to find a priceless artifact. The professor stored it safely in a vault. The team celebrated the win with a bonfire and went to sleep. The next morning, the artifact was gone. Professor Evans decided to investigate the robbery herself. Jack said he spent the last 2 hours cataloging the pottery they had found earlier. Olivia claimed she spent the last few hours in the rest area getting some sleep. Mark mentioned he'd been repairing the digger all morning. Professor Evans immediately figured out who took the artifact. Can you figure it out too? It was Mark. He claimed he spent the entire morning fixing the digger, But take a look at his hands. They should be dirty from the repairs. A car crashed into a restaurant window and drove straight inside. The owner was horrified and called the cops to investigate. There were two main suspects, Julia and Bernard. Each of them claims it was the other person who is the culprit. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who's lying? It's Julia. If you pay attention to the tire tracks, you'll see that they're the same pattern as Julia's tires. She's the one who did it. Take a look at this picture. Can you guess who is more reckless? Let's see. On the first pic, we see a little kid on the beach playing near the water. His super muscular dad is in the background talking to a couple of women. In the second pic, the little kid is playing catch with a not-so-friendly dog. But hey, his dad in the background is paying close attention. It's safe to say the dad on the first pic is more reckless. You are in Greece, exploring some of the country's ancient ruins. You get lost from your group and find the entrance to a hidden cave. You come across a mysterious chamber with 4 massive doors, each with a unique symbol. Beside it, there is an ancient scroll. When you open it, you find a message that tells you to trust that your mind knows the fleeting nature of time. The first door carries the symbol of a shield. The second door has a crown. The third door features a pair of wings, and the fourth door has an hourglass on it. Which door will lead you to the treasure? The fourth door, the one with the hourglass. The clue was in the last phrase, the fleeting nature of time. It's the hourglass. You walk into a diner and there are 2 very suspicious clients indoors. And one of them is actually a criminal. Who is it? Let's have a look. The first guy looks suspicious, especially since he's holding a defensive device. The second girl looks more innocent. She's just sitting holding a knife and cutting her salad with it. But hey, she's the guilty one. That huge knife is too big for cutting a salad, and it's got a red stain on it. Sarah was invited for a brunch with her new colleagues from work. She recently started working at a tech company. She arrived at the restaurant but didn't see any of her colleagues. Instead, she saw a weird-looking robot. How could she tell that it was really a robot? I know it looks like a person, but hey, look at her wrists. She has USB entrances on both of them. It must have been one of the pranks her colleagues decided to play on her. Maeve quit her job and decided to travel the world. Her first destination was Paris. She didn't know anything or anyone over there, so she arrived and looked for the first hostel she could find. But, oh no, she really shouldn't go inside this place. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out why? This hostel is haunted. There's the shadow of a ghost on the top window. I definitely wouldn't go in. One late summer evening, a thief broke into a renowned artist studio and stole a rare painting. He didn't manage to get too far though, because a security patrol passed by while he was escaping. The thief stashed the painting under a thick bush and hid behind a nearby wall. The artist was quick to notice they had been stolen and called Detective Summer for help. The detective soon gathered 2 suspects. Take a look at the picture. Which guy did it? If you crawl through a bush with bare arms, they will most likely get scratched. Take a look at that second guy's arms. They're covered in scratches. He must be the culprit. Anna went to the hotel swimming pool. She spotted 3 odd details in the area right away. Can you see them too? There's no ladder in the pool. There are 2 suns in the sky, and this guy is sunbathing in a winter coat. After lunch, Anna decided to go on a boat trip. At the pier, she met 3 sailors. Bob offered her a 3-hour sailing and fishing trip for $10 only. Kyle offered Anna a personal diving class for $200, and Daniela offered to have a boat trip around the coastal cliffs for free. But only one of these offers is actually a good deal. Can you guess which one? Kyle's offer is overpriced. Look at the poster hanging at the pier. It advertises personal diving classes for $20. And Daniela's offer isn't safe. Her boat has a broken bottom. That's why Anna should accept Bob's offer. Anna woke up on a deserted island in the middle of a hot day. The sun was shining very bright, so she needed to find a water source as soon as possible. There's the sea nearby, but she can't drink salty water. She found an abandoned cabin that contained some really handy items. 2 empty paint cans, 1 large and 1 small, a roll of aluminum foil, 1 baseball, an old pair of sneakers, and some other useful things. Which one of these additional items can Anna use to combine with the previous items to obtain drinking water? A book, a handful of tiny pebbles, or a plastic bag? The book is useless in this context. The pebbles can be found all over the shore. As for the plastic bag, Anna can fill 1/2 of the larger paint can with seawater. Then, put the smaller can inside of it. Next, she should use the laces from the sneakers to pull the plastic bag tight over the large can. And finally, place the baseball on top of the plastic bag directly above the smaller can to make a small indentation. Then, just leave this construction in the sun. Drinking water will evaporate and condense on the plastic bag. The indentation will push the water into the smaller paint can. Anna decided to explore the island. Soon, she found a tunnel and got lost inside it. At the bottom of the tunnel, Anna saw 3 pits leading to freedom. But, unfortunately, every pit is hiding some danger. A huge squid is hiding in the first pit. There's a hungry hyena in the second pit. And there's a poisonous porcupine hiding on the third path. Can you help Anna choose the safest way to escape? Anna should choose the pit with the squid. They can't live in conditions that differ from the marine habitat. Therefore, she should wait for a while. The squid will get weaker and she'll be able to escape safely. Anna got hungry and went to the jungle to find some food. But she's not alone here. Can you find any hidden animals in this picture? There are 6 animals in the jungle. Here they are: a butterfly, an alligator, a rabbit, a camel, a snake, and a deer. Finally, Anna found 3 bushes with berries. They all look delicious, but only one of them is safe to eat. Can you help Anna make the right choice? She should take a look at the monkeys. They stay away from the first bush because it's a mutant plant. See? It has teeth and emanates toxic gases. Meanwhile, the monkeys enjoy berries from the second and third bushes. But a cobra is hiding under the third bush. So, the second bush is the safest choice. Anna got sunburned during her walk. Which item from the cabin can she use to cool down? Aluminum foil? Fresh water from the paint can? Or the sponge with some seawater? The sponge with salty water will only make it worse for Anna's irritated skin. And the drinking water is too precious to waste on bathing. Meanwhile, metallic foil is a great tool to cool down a shelter. Anna can cover the roof and the cabin walls and deflect some of the sun's heat.
Jake and Sarah are chilling at a luxury resort after an exhausting business conference. But something is wrong. What is it? The water in the pool is frozen. And what's wrong with this picture? Unlike her reflection, the woman isn't actually wearing any necklace. Let's check what your magic power is. Don't forget to keep track of your points. A. What's your favorite time of the day? Morning, evening, night, afternoon? I can't choose. B. What superpower would you rather have? Teleportation, super speed, telepathy, super strength, X-ray vision. C. Congratulations, you've got it now. But with great power comes great responsibility. How will you use it? Marry my crush, rule the planet, get rich, become a hermit in the desert. Save people. D. How do you get along with other people? I'm respectful and neutral. I can't imagine my life without my friends. I dislike other people. I'm slightly introverted. I enjoy the company of other people. E. What's your favorite color? Black, red, blue, yellow, purple. F. A magician needs a crystal. Pick the one you like most. Red ruby, purple amethyst, white diamond, rainbow opal, black agate. G. What's your source of inspiration? Love, competition, art, nature, games. H. Which one is about you? I want to be popular. I'm pretty smart. I stay away from drama. I want everyone to be happy. I'll do anything to win. Now count your points and find out your magic power. 8 to 14 points, telekinesis, the ability to move and manipulate objects. 15 to 20 points, the magic of elements. You can control fire, water, air, and earth. 21 to 26 points, love magic. You have the ability to create perfectly matching couples. 27 to 33, hypnosis. You can create very convincing illusions. 34 to 40, healing. Your energy heals bodies and hearts. Look at the picture attentively. Can you see a car that came from a different time? Right, here it is. Look at the picture. What do you think is happening? Who is lying? If you chose option A, you're probably a very independent person. You prefer not to ask others for help even when you need it. And if you opted for option B, your family is the most important thing for you. You choose to care for others even if they're wrong. Gemma went to a restaurant with her fiancé Mike. Soon after they finished a delicious meal, Mike felt sick. Gemma called the ambulance and police. The detective interrogated the restaurant staff. The waiter said that she hadn't touched the food. She just took the order and passed it to the chef. The dishwasher said she always washed the dishes thoroughly with high-quality soap. The chef said that he had prepared the meal according to the order. Who is lying? The chef. Take a look at his locker and his tattoo. He is Gemma's ex-boyfriend. He poisoned Mike out of jealousy. Will worked at a coffee shop. One day, his wife, Diana, came over to visit him. Which of the customers is his real wife? Will is married to the woman on the right. They have similar tattoos on their necks. Other girls are random customers who just happen to have the same name. Greg and his daughter Mia went for a walk after spending a year apart. Look at these 6 people very closely. Which couple is the father and daughter? Right you are! Mad scientist Fred accidentally revived a mummy. His creature escaped from the museum. Following the mummy, Fred ran to the park. Look at this image. Can you help Fred find the mummy? It's over there, behind the ice cream stand. Karina was going to become a historian. After classes, she liked to go to the History Museum to read her books and learn new things. One day, while the girl was studying there, she went to the bathroom, leaving her stuff behind. When she returned, she discovered that her wallet was missing. Noelle said she never paid attention to Karina or her stuff. Tucker said that at that time, he was on the phone with his friend. Lyra said she hadn't stolen anything. Who lied? Tucker. It's prohibited to talk on the phone in the museum. Mrs. Moore had a rule. If her daughters wanted to eat ice cream in the evening, they had to do some housework during the day. On a rainy Tuesday, she came back from work and asked her daughters what they'd done. Charlotte said she'd vacuum cleaned the second floor. Indiana said she'd done the laundry. Polaris said she'd watered the plants in the garden. Who didn't eat ice cream that day? Polaris. She said she'd watered the flowers, but why would she do it if it was raining outside? Detective Callum is on a mission to find a vampire and an elf. He knows that the vampire lives in the red house on the left side of the neighborhood. Look closely at this family and find the vampire. It's this guy. He's walking past the mirror, but there's no reflection. Now back to the elf. He lives in the greenhouse on the right side of the neighborhood. Detective Callum has started to watch this building too. Luckily, he has only spotted 2 people. But who is the elf? It must be this guy. Look, his ears are pointed. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell called the police. They said that their son, a private school student, hadn't come back from school. The problem was that he suffered from amnesia. The police started to search the city. they found 3 teenagers with amnesia who didn't know their names or the names of their parents. And still, they managed to figure out who Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son was. Can you understand it? It's the guy in the middle. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son went to school in the morning and didn't return, so he must still be wearing his school uniform. Phoebus crossed the border of 2 countries every day, riding his bike and wearing a huge backpack. The custom officers checked his bag every day but couldn't find anything prohibited. And still, they were sure that Phoebus was up to no good. They were actually right, but they couldn't understand what was wrong. Can you figure it out? Look, every time, Phoebus rides a different bike. He smuggles bikes right in front of their noses. Mrs. Adams came back home. She had 3 children who were grounded and not allowed to watch TV. When she was about to get into the house, she heard that the TV was on. But when she entered, it had already been turned off. Serenity was in the garden. She said she had been redoing her flower bed for the last couple of hours. Cressida was upstairs in her room doing her homework. Everett was in the garage playing the guitar. Who lied? Serenity. No one works in the garden wearing a dress. Also, she's completely clean and doesn't have any garden tools with her. Oliver is terrible at packing. Whenever he goes somewhere, he always takes the stuff he'll never need. Today, he's packing to go camping in the forest. Take a look inside his bag and decide what he won't need on the trip. Look, there's an electric kettle. There's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Now, look at what Oliver has packed for a weekend at his parents' house. What things won't he need? There are 2 huge towels. I'm pretty sure his parents have spare towels. He can leave them at home. Oliver is going on vacation to a deserted island. He will spend a couple of days there trying to survive on his own. What things won't he need on the island? Oh boy, don't take this laptop with you. It'll run out of power really fast. Susie was finally going on vacation, and she was planning to spend it in Mexico. She lived alone, so she asked her friend to look after her plants and her cat. The friend agreed and took them to her house. When Susie returned, she realized that someone had been in her house while she had been away. How did Susie understand it? Susie lives alone, but look, several packages were delivered while she was away, and somehow they are inside, not outside the house.
Every weekday, Kennedy eats an apple on her way to work. Once, she noticed a woman selling flowers. The woman gave a man a bouquet and said, "Tuna sandwich." The next day, it was yogurt, directed at another person. On the third day, it was eggs. Kennedy got curious and walked up to the woman to get some flowers. The woman said apple. What was her weird ability? The woman always knew the last thing her client ate. Simon had a crush on a new girl in his class. Finally, he asked her out on a date. To impress her, he told the girl he had undergone a special secret training program. And then he visited the moon. He even had a picture. The girl took a look at it but didn't believe Simon. Why? In the picture, Simon is standing on the moon. Still, there's another moon in the background, which is impossible. He might have cool Photoshop skills, but he definitely hadn't thought it through. One rich and well-known elderly woman, Mrs. Stevenson, had been living alone for years. She had one interesting quirk. Every time someone rang the doorbell, she wouldn't open the door without putting on her coat and hat first. Can you guess why? She didn't know who the visitor was until she opened the door. If she liked that person, she'd tell them she'd just returned home and invite them to come in. If it was someone she didn't want to spend time with, she said she was leaving. Mrs. Jordan loved music, so she sent her daughter, Gianna, to music school. The woman made the girl play every day. Once, Mrs. Jordan had to go on a business trip for 2 weeks. She asked Gianna to practice every day, and the girl agreed. When Mrs. Jordan came back 2 weeks later, she realized Gianna hadn't been practicing. How did she understand it? The piano is dusty, which means it's been a while since Gianna last opened it. A group of aliens from another galaxy discovered planet Earth and decided to study people. 4 of them turned into humans and went to our planet to explore. But the aliens didn't really succeed in pretending to be humans. Take a look at these photos and try to find an alien. Here's the first image. Can you spot anything strange? This guy's skin is blue. He must be the alien. This one's harder. Do you see a fake human here? It's winter and it's cold, but this guy is only wearing shorts. That's some non-human ability to tolerate cold temperatures. What about this one? Take a closer look at what this guy is eating. It doesn't look like human food at all. Okay, what do you say here? Did you notice this one has 6 fingers? I bet it's him. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters who she doesn't allow to go outside after 8 p.m. The woman was at work when a neighbor called her and said she'd seen one of her daughters in the mall. Mrs. Lawrence immediately called each of her girls. Mia said she'd been playing badminton outside. Nicole said she had an online study session with her friends. Quinn said she'd been playing computer games. Who lied? Mia. She couldn't play badminton alone, and since her sisters were all busy, they couldn't play with her. I have a friend, Anna. Her mom is the most unusual person I know. She has green hair, wears skirts with trousers, and has a pet raccoon. She also has 3 daughters. Her oldest daughter's name is Wednesday. Her middle daughter's name is Thursday. Can you guess what her youngest daughter's name is? Well, it's Anna's mom, so her 3rd daughter's name is Anna. On the first day of college, Ruby went missing. A detective had 3 suspects: Mrs. Collins, the director, Mr. Wright, the cleaning man, and Cassidy, Ruby's best friend. Mrs. Collins said that she had to do her midterm report and hadn't left her office. Mr. Wright said he hadn't even seen the girl. Cassidy said they'd spent the whole day together at college. But then Ruby went home. Who is lying? It must be the director, Mrs. Collins. It was the first day of college. There couldn't possibly be any midterm reports yet. Della and Aurora always tell the truth, but on their birthdays, they always lie. Today is September 3rd, and their friend Mark asks them when their birthdays are. Della says it was yesterday. Aurora says it's tomorrow. The next day, the guy asks the same question, but their answers don't change. When are the girls' birthdays? Each of them lied on one of the days, so these 2 days must be their birthdays. Della said it was yesterday both times, so her birthday must be on September 3rd. Then, the next day, she told the truth. September 4th is Aurora's birthday. She told the truth on the first day and then lied on her birthday. 4 beauty pageant finalists were preparing for their last performance.
Oh no!
Suddenly, Helen discovered that someone had ruined her evening gown. Helen questioned the other girls. Courtney said she'd been having her makeup done. The stylist could confirm that. Jennifer was too busy talking to the reporters, and Kelly was taking pictures for her Instagram. Who ruined Helen's outfit? It was Jennifer. Take a look at her hair. She's hiding scissors. Parents went to the country and left their son Jim and their dog Chuck alone for one evening. It was Friday night, and Jim decided to throw a party. He invited 3 of his friends. When they came over, Chuck began to bark at the guests. So Jim locked the dog in his parents' bedroom. Half an hour later, Jim decided to visit the pet, but when he opened the door, he discovered the dog was gone, even though all the windows were closed. Jim questioned his guests. Rob had been playing video games. Nora had been recording a TikTok dance in the living room. And Dan had been making snacks in the kitchen together with Jim. Who stole the dog? Jim's parents pranked him. See? They're hiding in the bushes, and the dog is with them. Take a look at the picture. Can you spot a thief? He's hiding behind this tree. Look at these monkeys. 3 of them are different from the others. Can you see them? This monkey is holding its baby. This one hiding a banana. And this monkey is looking in the opposite direction. Nurse Zoe received an anonymous message claiming that a vampire had broken into the hospital. While inspecting the wards, Zoe ran into 3 people in the hallway: Jules, Sam, and Debbie. Help Zoe figure out which of them is the real vampire. Debbie has red lipstick all over her face because she came over to visit her boyfriend, Sam. Look, they're secretly holding hands. Sam also has traces of Debbie's red lipstick on his face and neck. And Jules is carrying a huge backpack with a red stain. She must have stolen some donated blood. Look at the picture. Who will manage to escape the prison? The first prisoner. The lock is already open in this ward, and the second prisoner has yet to pick the lock. Look at these women attentively. There's a thief among them. Can you identify the criminal? It's the third woman. She's holding the phone that belongs to the fourth lady. Her portrait is printed on the phone case. Nancy has been dreaming of visiting an exhibition of her favorite artist for ages. When the exhibition finally arrived in her town, Nancy called 3 of her friends to invite them to go with her, but they all refused. Wendy said she was going to a concert and had already bought the tickets. Shannon said she was sick and didn't want to leave home. And Vicky had to take her sister to a dance class. Nancy got upset and decided to put off her visit to the museum until the next day. After a couple of hours, Nancy looked through her friend's social media and got very angry. One of her friends lied to her. Who was the liar? It was Shannon. She's in Wendy's picture from the concert. In the morning, Dr. Jill arrived at the hospital and went to the ward to meet new patients. When Jill saw them, she understood immediately that one of the patients was fake. Which one? It's the first patient. The hair color of the woman in the photo is different from hers. Detective Daniel was asked to come to a hotel. Someone had robbed the most expensive room there. The detective checked the footage from the security cameras, but didn't see anything suspicious. He questioned the hotel guests. Karen showed him a theater ticket and said she'd visited the opera the evening before. Jane was very tired, so she went home and fell asleep. Harold spent his evening by the swimming pool and didn't notice anything suspicious. Can you help Detective Daniel to identify the robber? Jane was a hotel guest. Why would she go home to sleep? It was Halloween night, and Joy was preparing her house for a party. Suddenly, a group of people in scary costumes rang Joy's doorbell and shouted, "Trick or treat!" Joy went to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and found out that all sweets prepared for unexpected guests had disappeared. She called her 3 sisters and questioned them. Beth said she'd been taking a bath. Mary had been out buying decorations for the birthday party. And Erica was watching a tutorial. She wanted to have the best Halloween makeup. Which sister took the candies? Mary. She said she had bought some birthday decorations, but it was a Halloween party.
If you don't keep it, it'll break. What is it? It's a promise. Susan was asked to describe her sons. She said, "They're all redheads but 3, all blondes but 3, all brunettes but 3, and all pink-haired but 3. How many sons did Susan have? The answer is 4. 1 redhead, 1 pink-haired, 1 brunette, and 1 blonde. Lisa was a famous top model. She was found unconscious in her dressing room during a photo shoot and taken to a hospital. Doctors said she had a severe allergic reaction, but when Lisa came to herself, she insisted she hadn't eaten anything all day. The model's manager was very concerned and interrogated everyone who had been around Lisa. The stylist said she had applied Lisa's makeup and, indeed, hadn't seen her eating anything. The cleaning lady said she had cleaned the dressing room with organic, non-allergenic products. Lisa's main rival, Nora, said she had been watching the shooting all day long. She hadn't noticed anything suspicious. Who's the culprit? It was the stylist. Lipstick was the only thing Lisa could have swallowed that day. Look at the pictures. Which of these people is a risk taker? The girl is risking less. She's sitting on the 2nd floor, and there's a pool below. The guy is risking more. The building he's sitting on is taller. You can see clouds and planes in the sky. What food can you never cheer up? A blueberry, because it's always blue. Haha. Okay, let's move on. There are 5 lemons in a bowl. You take away 3 of them. How many lemons do you have now? Well, you have the 3 lemons you took. King Gerald has a very beautiful daughter named Teresa. 4 princes from different countries came to the kingdom, hoping to marry the girl. But the king decided to check how smart they were and organized a special contest. Teresa was in the center of a 200 by 200 foot room, and the princes were standing on small boxes in each corner of the room. The first prince to touch Teresa's hand would become her husband, but they weren't allowed to leave their places or use anything but their hands or wits. One of the princes figured out what to do immediately. He married the princess. What did he do? He just asked Teresa to come over and touched her hand. You can easily find me on Earth, Mars, Mercury, and even Jupiter, but you'll never find me on the Moon, Venus, or Pluto. What am I? I'm the letter R. Manager George received an anonymous text message. It said a robber had just entered the supermarket where he worked. George hurried into the hall and saw 4 pregnant women in the grocery section. The man looked at the ladies attentively, detected the thief, and called the police. How did he know? The woman on the right is the only one who doesn't have a shopping basket or cart. She's putting groceries inside her fake belly. Imagine that you're in a room with no windows and no doors. How can you get out? Just stop imagining the room. Mrs. Victoria decided to give her grandson Rick an unusual gift for his 18th birthday. She called him into her room, showed the guy her safe, and handed him a corked bottle with a key inside.
Honey, this is the key to my safe. You can keep all the money you find there if you manage to open it. But you must take the key out without removing the cork or breaking the bottle. Good luck.
Rick accepted the challenge and started thinking about the puzzle. What would you do to get the key out? Push the cork into the bottle, and you'll easily get the key. Look at the picture. What's wrong here? The lady's reflection is holding the bag in the wrong hand. Amy had a crush on her neighbor. She went to the local witch, Sally, to ask for her help. Sally said she would make a purple love potion. On the night of the full moon, Sally took a sheet of paper with her granny's love potion recipe. She mixed all the ingredients except for the last one. Suddenly, a gust of wind threw the recipe into the fireplace. Sally was desperate. She didn't remember the name of the last ingredient, but she still knew for sure that the potion should be purple. Help Sally finish her work. She should add the blue ingredient. When you mix blue and red, they make purple. It turns out that before leaving, your detective friend gave your contacts to all his acquaintances. And now, one of them needs your help. You arrive at his jewelry store. A client came there several hours ago, planning to buy an expensive diamond ring for his wife. But someone stole his wallet right in the store. The manager, he was the one to call you, asked all the visitors who were inside at that time to stay until your arrival. You look at all these people attentively. Soon you know who took the wallet. It's the man in the middle. He has a bandage on his right arm, but it's wrapped over the sleeve of his jacket, not hidden under it, like a real bandage would be. You knock on a sturdy brown door, while a woman with a bandage on her head stands next to you. A man opens the door. "Excuse me," you say. "A pot plant fell out of your window an hour ago and hit this woman on her head. I had to take her to the hospital. She's okay now, but you need to compensate this woman for the damage. May we come in?" The man turns pale, but lets you in.
It can't be true. Our windows were closed because we've just returned home. I literally entered my apartment 2 minutes before you came.
You realize this man is lying and call the police. How did you figure it out? You spotted a pan with boiling water in the kitchen. If the man had indeed come home just a few minutes ago, the water wouldn't have had enough time to start boiling. Now, it's your friend who needs help. She owns a grocery store. A gust of wind blew a $100 bill out of her hands, and the money seems to have vanished into thin air. Your friend thinks it was one of the customers who took the bill, but no one wants to admit stealing the money. You ask all visitors to go to your friend's office when a woman speaks up.
It's incredible to be accused of theft.
Here, you can check my bags right now. Please, just come with me to the office. We'll figure it out there, you say. After the woman refuses to follow you, you call the police. Why? The woman is standing on the $100 bill. If she follows you, everyone will see the money. The next morning, rainy and gloomy, you get your next case. To investigate it, you need to visit the office of a large international company. Rebecca, the girl who called you, works there. She says, "I've just come back from brunch and discovered that someone had knocked our HR manager out just an hour ago." You question the people who were in the office at that time. Laura is an applicant. She says she was a bit angry with the HR manager. He made her wait well past her appointment time. "And still," the girl says, "I would never hit another person. I'm also too weak to do it." Gary, who works in the marketing department, claims he hasn't seen the HR manager since he arrived at work. He was in a meeting from the very morning till lunchtime. Jacob from Research and Development tells you he rode his bike to a coffee shop to get his cappuccino. He's just come back. You immediately realize who hit the HR manager. It was Jacob. Both his bike and his clothes are dry and clean. How is that possible if it's raining outside? You leave Rebecca's office and hear your phone beeping. You see a text with an address you don't know. You drive there. A man meets you at the door of a large building. He's shaking. When you enter a large dark hall, you see 2 containers filled with transparent liquid. 2 women are floating inside. They look identical. "One of them is my wife, but I can't figure out which one, and I'm allowed to open only one container." You walk around the women and examine them. Then you point at one of them. "That's your wife. How did you figure it out?" The man's name is Mark. It's written on his biker jacket. His wife is the woman with the letter M tattooed on her arm. Your phone beeps again. You look at it and see a message. It's from your detective friend. There's just one word on the screen. "Help!" But that's already another story.
Okay, listen to me very carefully, my friend. Here's the deal. First, to steal the diamond, you need to get to a remote island. It doesn't exist on any map, and it's forbidden for ordinary people to be there. The diamond is in the heart of this place, inside a well-guarded deep underground bunker. It's impossible to get there through the main entrance. But lucky you, there's also a secret jail on the island. You can get there as a prisoner and then escape through the underground tunnel. That tunnel will lead you into the bunker. Then you should find the diamond. You'll have very little time for the whole operation. When you're done, a boat will be waiting for you in the southern part of the island. Do everything correctly and follow the plan, and then you'll encounter no problems. Got it? All right, let's go. You and other prisoners get into a helicopter and fly to the island. You're handcuffed. At one moment, the helicopter begins to shake. The pilot says you're falling. He puts on a parachute and jumps out of the helicopter. Take a look around and decide what to do next. Faster! You see the keys to your handcuffs hanging near the cabin. Then you get rid of the handcuffs. The prisoners ask you to release them too. But be careful, these people are dangerous. All 3 of them say they know how to fly a helicopter. Who will you believe? That guy with a tattoo with a helicopter on his leg. Maybe he's a good pilot. You remove his handcuffs and he admits he has lied. None of these people knows how to fly a helicopter. There's only one parachute left. The prisoner pushes you to the side, grabs the parachute, and jumps out of the falling helicopter. You decide to release the other prisoners too. What will you do next? Jump without a parachute? Try to land the helicopter on your own? The helicopter's pilot abandoned the vehicle because the landing was impossible. So you will not succeed either. You need to jump. You have been flying over the ocean, remember? Also, the helicopter is falling, so the height isn't that great. You jump into the water and swim toward the shore. Suddenly, you notice a shark's fin. It's quickly approaching you. What are you going to do? A. Try to swim to the shore as fast as possible. B. Don't swim anywhere and just float in the water. C. Dive and start waving your hands to scare the shark away. You need to stop. If you start swimming away, the shark will begin chasing you. Breathe in a lot of air and try not to make unnecessary movements. The shark will leave soon. But if it attacks, you'll have to attack back. Its gills and eyes are the animal's weak spots. Fortunately, the shark doesn't charge at you. It swims away, and you get to the shore safely. The island's guards are running out of the jungle. One of the prisoners who was with you in the helicopter is hiding in the bushes and invites you to join him. Where will you go? Let the guards catch you and take you to jail. Don't forget about your mission. They dress you in a yellow shirt and lead you away. You see many dangerous people. You're sitting at the table having lunch. There are 3 prisoners in front of you. One of them is going to escape. But who? That man with a book. A metal file serves him as a bookmark. Today, he will also try to escape. The underground tunnel leading from the prison to the bunker is located under the laundry room. You need to get out of your cell and get there. To do this, you have to get the metal file and pick the lock. Everyone goes out into the courtyard for a walk. You're following the man with the book. He sits down on the bench and hides the book under the seat. You need to distract him and get your hands on the book. You can use a basketball, dumbbells, or playing cards. What will you do? You can offer to work out with the dumbbells or play cards, but it will be difficult for you to get out of his sight. Start playing basketball. Throw the ball far away. The prisoner will run after it. Meanwhile, you'll take the book. So you grab the book but find no file inside. Instead of this, you find some money. It seems this guy has sold the tool to one of the other prisoners. You put the money in your pocket and look around the yard. Which of the prisoners can have the metal file? That guy is pressing his fingers to the sleeve of his shirt. Apparently, he's hiding the tool there. You're about to approach him, but one of the prisoners starts a fight. The guards are trying to prevent a riot. In all this chaos, someone hits you on the head and you lose consciousness. You wake up in a hospital ward. Oh no! You have almost no time left. The doors are locked. Several security guards are walking around. How can you get into the laundry room? In the corner, there's a huge cart with dirty laundry. Hide in there, and they'll take you to where you need to go. You hide among the dirty sheets. The cleaner takes the cart and transports you to the laundry room. He throws the linen into the washing machine and notices you. The cleaner's going to scream and call the guards. What will you do? You have some money, remember? You can pay for his silence. You move one of the washing machines and find a hatch under it. You climb inside and walk through the tunnel. It's very cold, wet, and dark here. Finally, you reach a small room. There are no windows and doors, only brick walls. What will you do? You can't go back. Among all these bricks, there's one sticking out of the wall. Try to push it. It worked. A secret door opens, and you step inside. You go down and find yourself in front of another iron door. You notice an oxygen tank with a mask lying nearby. You open the door and find yourself in an airlock room between 2 iron doors. One of the doors closes behind you. All the oxygen gets pumped out. You can't breathe, so you put on the mask. The second iron door opens and you go inside. You see 3 tunnels. The first tunnel is filled with moving axes, blades, and other traps. High-voltage electric discharges flicker in the second tunnel. The third tunnel is burning with a bright flame. One of the threats is an illusion. Which tunnel will you choose? There's no air in the room, which means fire can't burn here. The flame is a hologram. You move on and find yourself in front of a dark room. It's so dark you can't see what's inside. It seems to you that the diamond is there. Stop. What is this diamond? Who gave you this mission? What are you doing here? What's happening? At this moment, some unknown force pushes you forward. You step into the black void and fall. You find yourself floating in outer space. It's so cold and scary here. You feel tiny in the boundless universe. Suddenly, you see something shining. Is it a star or an asteroid? A bright light illuminates the black space around you. Good job, a heavy voice says. You reach out your hand and touch the light. At this moment, at a great speed, you start flying back through space and time. You're falling fast and land in a dirty room. Frightened, you get up and open the door. Oh, yes, sunlight. You finally get out of the bunker and find yourself on the island. There are 2 paths in front of you. One leads to the south, the other to the north. Which one will you choose? The boat is supposed to be waiting for you in the south, remember? You go through the jungle and find an old car. You start the engine and grab an MP3 player with headphones from the glove compartment. You drive along the road listening to music when you realize the brakes don't work. There are 3 ways ahead. A brick wall is waiting for you at the end of the first road. The second one leads to a swamp, and the third leads to a high hill with a cliff. Where are you going to drive? There's almost no time. Release the gas pedal and drive up the hill. The car will start slowing down, and soon you'll be able to get out of it. Jake and Sarah are chilling at a luxury resort after an exhausting business conference. But something is wrong. What is it? The water in the pool is frozen. And what's wrong with this picture? Unlike her reflection, the woman isn't actually wearing any necklace. Let's check what your magic power is. Don't forget to keep track of your points. A. What's your favorite time of the day? Morning, evening, night, afternoon? I can't choose. B. What superpower would you rather have? Teleportation, super speed, telepathy, super strength, X-ray vision. C. Congratulations, you've got it now. But with great power comes great responsibility. How will you use it? Marry my crush, rule the planet, get rich, become a hermit in the desert. Save people. D. How do you get along with other people? I'm respectful and neutral. I can't imagine my life without my friends. I dislike other people. I'm slightly introverted. I enjoy the company of other people. E. What's your favorite color? black, red, blue, yellow, purple. F. A magician needs a crystal. Pick the one you like most. Red ruby, purple amethyst, white diamond, rainbow opal, black agate. G. What's your source of inspiration? Love, competition, art, nature, games. H. Which one is about you? I want to be popular. I'm pretty smart. I stay away from drama. I want everyone to be happy. I'll do anything to win. Now count your points and find out your magic power. 8 to 14 points, telekinesis, the ability to move and manipulate objects. 15 to 20 points, the magic of elements. You can control fire, water, air, and earth. 21 to 26 points, love magic. You have the ability to create perfectly matching couples. 27 to 33, hypnosis. You can create very convincing illusions. 34 to 40, healing. Your energy heals bodies and hearts. Look at the picture attentively. Can you see a car that came from a different time? Right, here it is. Look at the picture. What do you think is happening? Who is lying? If you chose option A, you're probably a very independent person. You prefer not to ask others for help even when you need it. And if you opted for option B, your family is the most important thing for you. You choose to care for others even if they're wrong. Gemma went to a restaurant with her fiancé Mike. Soon after they finished a delicious meal, Mike felt sick. Gemma called the ambulance and police. The detective interrogated the restaurant staff. The waiter said that she hadn't touched the food. She just took the order and passed it to the chef. The dishwasher said she always washed the dishes thoroughly with high-quality soap. The chef said that he had prepared the meal according to the order. Who is lying? The chef. Take a look at his locker and his tattoo. He is Gemma's ex-boyfriend. He poisoned Mike out of jealousy. Will worked at a coffee shop. One day, his wife, Diana, came over to visit him. Which of the customers is his real wife? Will is married to the woman on the right. They have similar tattoos on their necks. Other girls are random customers who just happen to have the same name. Greg and his daughter Mia went for a walk after spending a year apart. Look at these 6 people very closely. Which couple is the father and daughter? Right you are! Mad scientist Fred accidentally revived a mummy. His creature escaped from the museum. Following the mummy, Fred ran to the park. Look at this image. Can you help Fred find the mummy? It's over there, behind the ice cream stand.
One day, Amy decided to explore an abandoned house in her neighborhood. She went inside by herself. The place was eerie and strange. She started by exploring the garden, but got distracted looking at some flowers and suddenly fell into a 20-foot deep pool. The pool was empty, but when she fell inside, she activated a sensor that said the pool would be filled with water in only 5 minutes. Amy was scared because she was a bad swimmer. She looked around and noticed a 6-foot-long rope lying at the bottom of the pool. She also saw a 4-foot-wide wooden barrel and a 3-foot-tall metal safe. Amy was 6 feet tall, and she managed to get out of the pool safely. Can you guess how she did it? Well, once the water started rising, Amy held tight to the wooden barrel. It helped her stay afloat and get out of the pool safe and sound. She could only enter the house through a door with a 5-digit combination lock. Amy looked around for some clues and found a piece of paper with 5 digits, 8, 1, 1, 6, 9. She tried this code, but it didn't work. Soon, she realized what was wrong. Can you figure it out as well? She was holding the paper upside down. The correct code is 69118. Finally, she got inside the main house. In the living room, she discovered that the mansion was not abandoned after all. There were 4 ladies waiting for her. Each of them offered to guide Amy around the house. Which woman do you think is the safest choice? Well, the first woman doesn't cast a shadow, so she's probably a vampire. The third woman has a vampire bite on her neck, which means she's going to turn into a vampire pretty soon. The fourth lady has snakes in her hair, which means a big no-no. So Amy is left with lady number 2 as her guide. The lady led Amy to another room. She gave the girl a chocolate bar and told her she had a challenge for her. The guide was going to perform a few tricks for Amy, and after each trick, she needed to give the guide 1/7 of the chocolate bar. But Amy was only allowed to cut the bar into 2 parts. It was also impossible to break the bar or cut it without a special knife. In this case, what is the best strategy for cutting the chocolate bar? Amy should make 2 cuts, dividing the bar into 3 pieces. The first piece should be 1/7 of the bar, the second piece 2/7 of the bar, and the third one 4/7 of the bar. The guide performed a crazy magic trick, and Amy gave her 1/7 of the bar. After the second trick, she gave the lady 2/7 of the bar and asked her to give the 1/7 piece back. After the third trick, she gave the guide the smallest piece again. Then, after the fourth trick, Amy took away the first 2 pieces and gave the woman the 4/7 piece. After the 5th trick, she added the 1/7 piece again. After the 6th trick, the girl took away the 1/7 piece and gave the guide the 2/7 piece. And after the grand finale, she gave the woman the smallest part of the bar again. After she finished performing tricks, the lady locked Amy inside the room. In a bizarre twist, the door she had entered through disappeared, and the girl could only see another door in the corner of the room. That door was sealed with a letter combination lock. Amy looked around the room and found a slip of paper. That's what was written on it. P plus 3, N minus 1, B minus 1, N plus 4, S plus 1. What's the code word? The code word is SMART. The key to this riddle was hidden in the alphabet. P plus the following 3 letters is S. N minus 1 letter is M, and so on. Amy left this room and found a staircase leading to the basement. She went down and saw that her guide was downstairs waiting for her. The guide told her she needed to choose between the 3 drinks on the table in front of them. Only one of the drinks was not poisoned. The drinks were tea with sugar, cappuccino, and hot chocolate. What should Amy pick? If it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have already melted completely, but the sugar cubes are still in there. The foam on top of the cappuccino looks suspiciously green. It's probably unsafe to drink it. So, Amy should opt for the hot chocolate. The guide opened the back door of the house and told her to leave and never come back. Amy found herself in the street and saw a car standing nearby with its engine already running. She got inside and decided to drive back to her house. However, it was so foggy that she got lost and ended up in a deserted town. By then, she was hungry, thirsty, and really tired. Suddenly, Amy saw 3 doors leading to different houses. It was written that behind the first door, there was loads of food. Behind the second door, there was all the water she could drink. And behind the third door, there was a stash of $1 million. Which door should Amy open first? Well, the car door. Duh. Amy managed to find her way back to her hometown and arrived home in the early morning. As soon as she entered her house, she noticed her laptop was missing. It looked like someone had broken into her house because there were footprints on the floor leading to the living room window. Amy called the police and told them about the case. In a day's time, the detective gathered 4 possible suspects. The first person was Jack, Amy's childhood friend. He said he hadn't left his house over the past few days because he'd been working on an important project for his work. Then there was Robert, Amy's next-door neighbor. He said he'd been taking care of his garden the entire week, but he hadn't seen anyone break into Amy's place. Mallory, Amy's coworker, said she'd been away on vacation during the past week. And Susanna, Amy's housekeeper, said that last time she'd come to clean Amy's place, the laptop had still been there. The detective knew immediately who had done it. How could he tell? Look at Robert's garden. He said he'd been taking care of it, but the flowers are all withered and dry. Amy's friend Bill called her saying that he had a surprise for her. He said he had won several tickets to the concert of Amy's favorite pop band. He would give her a ticket if she figured out the answer to a very difficult riddle. Amy managed to crack the riddle and got the ticket. The riddle went like this: you don't have them when you're born, but you get them later. In several years, you don't have them anymore, but then they come again, in a different form. Many years later, they might leave you again. What are they? They are your teeth.